This scone recipe I'll show you today is not only more nutritious, but also unbelievably delicious compared to your typical scone. By simply swapping a few standard ingredients, we can upgrade these scones from occasional treat to respectable snack without sacrificing too much of what makes scones great in the first place. Let me show you how to make it. To start things off, we're going to need 1 whole orange, from which we will need to grate off 1 teaspoon of orange zest. Next, grab a large mixing bowl and to it add 2 cups of whole wheat flour, ½ cup of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and ½ teaspoon of salt. Whisk all of these together to combine, and grab a separate mixing bowl for the wet ingredients. And now for the secret ingredient that makes the most difference: Greek yogurt. The Greek yogurt serves as a replacement for heavy cream, which is typically used in your average scone. The 1 teaspoon of orange zest from earlier, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and ½ cup of melted butter. You could replace with about 2/3 cup of coconut oil if you prefer. You want to help with the egg? Crack it together. You want to do it? And for the last wet ingredient, 1 egg, cracked and beaten. Add the egg directly to the rest of the wet ingredients and combine everything. Add all of the wet ingredients directly into the dry and then mix that together. This might take a little bit of elbow grease, but don't worry, it will come together eventually. It will form a dough, but it will definitely not be wet. After the dough is ready, add ½ cup of dried cranberries. Fold these in until everything is combined. On a large sheet of parchment paper or silicone mat, add all of the dough and form into a ball. Try not to work it too much, but it might take more effort than a typical scone would. Put some muscle into it and form it into the shape that you want. Show that dough who's boss. Once you've got the solid ball shape, press it down into a disc about 8 inches wide. Once the disc is formed, cut into 8 wedges. Spread out those wedges from each other a little bit and then sprinkle on some extra sugar on top. This extra sugar will just help give a nice crunchy top. After this, let these scones rest in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes to settle. Meanwhile, you can preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Bake these scones for about 20 to 25 minutes or until the scones are golden brown around the edges. With these using whole wheat flour, it is a bit harder to tell when the browning has actually happened, so make sure you're checking the bottom edges. Tops won't necessarily tell you, but the edges will. Once these are baked, there's nothing left to do other than to let them cool for a bit. These scones are quite pleasant warm though. This scone recipe today I got from the book called Feeding Littles and Beyond. I do really enjoy this cookbook. I've made many other things from it as well. The recipes are designed to be able to be used for baby-led weaning, but a lot of the recipes in there are just plain good for anyone. I'll leave a link to the book down in the description of this video. These scones are quite delicious and super easy to make, as you can see. The orange flavor from the zest is subtle and pleasant, and the cranberries give a nice burst of flavor in the bites. They're slightly more nutritious than your average scone with that whole wheat flour and swapping in Greek yogurt versus cream. There is some butter and sugar in there, but hey, you don't want to eat a dry puck. Overall, if you're looking to exercise your baking skills or just for a new scone recipe, I would definitely recommend you give this one a try.